I'm always being told that I'm going to go to Taco Bell. Downstairs, the eternal pit of fire. You know what I'm talking about. And I promise you, I'm not scared in the slightest to go down there. When I was younger, right, I grew up very, very Christian. Like, I know all these different Bible verses and stuff. And grew up as soon as I was small, certain age, boom, I started learning about Eve and Adam, their little adventures. So trust me, I grew up being terrified of hell. But now I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not scared of it anymore. I don't fear it. I'm not worried about it. I'm constantly being told that's where I'm headed to for the act of non-belief. I'm here to help you out in case you are feeling these same things. You feel terrified, or you feel terrified because people around you might be going to that place. Got you. Like, there's nothing to be afraid of. Let me put this into perspective for you. The main thing that always separated me from Christianity was the fact of hell, right? Growing up, I had a lot of different friends who weren't actually Christians, right? They were, different religions. And then as I got older, I had people who, were friends and they were gay or trans, whatever. And I don't even know if it says in the Bible that they wouldn't, quote unquote, enter heaven or hell, but Christianity, in my experience, changes so much. I mean, there's a ton of branches just within that one religion. So I'd always be getting fear-mongered, like, oh, dang, they're not one of us. How they made their choice, whatever. And I knew this. I'm like, critically, I always knew there was something wrong with it. I was that little kid that would be, asking the pastor and, it just wouldn't click. But all they would do was just read more verses back to back and tell me that I was misinterpreting. It's never made sense to me. And I'm telling you right now, there's nothing in this world that will prove me, that will convince me that sending someone down there to be tortured for eternity for the simple act of non-belief, no one's going to convince me that that is loving, especially when he or she or whatever you want to call it created the whole system, knew everything, knew how it was going to work, knew exactly how we were going to perceive and see things. Call it divine. That is just not flying with me. I don't care even if that is the truth, right? That is not someone worthy of praise and love. And that is not a loving person. That is not a loving God. Which I know is going to sound a little bad to the ear because you're trained to not even question, or even the simple thought of just questioning, like they'll call it demons just in your head, or the devil, he's hard at work. Like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? What are we talking about? It made no sense because I'm like, okay, so I'm a horrible person. I'm not good. I just make these little videos. I try my best. I'm a little bit of good, a little bit of bad, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. How is a POS like me going to be like, yo, that's actually kind of psychotic? Just for non-belief? You just don't want to worship this guy that has made no effort to prove that he's real, other than quote unquote blind faith? Also, why is he a guy? That makes no sense. I feel like the highest form, or if there was a God, like when you have no gender, like you'd be above that. Think normally for a second. Like, if you saw me doing this, right? Or I guess me would be horrible, be blasphemy. This pillow right here, if this pillow was God and he was like, worship me or else you're gonna get sent to hell, you'd be like, this is psychotic, it's evil, it is not good. Maybe in charge, but it's not good. But here's the thing, it's always someone whispering in your ear, telling you what it is. You know what I mean? The Bible is what says it. But how do we know truly hasn't been altered, hasn't been changed? No one's tapped into it. Have you ever played telephone? You say a message, like 11 ways down, message changes slightly. But there's no chance that happened, spread out through thousands of years or however many years it was. But the crazy part is I'd be called evil and bad for saying this, just speaking out my mind. Which I'm not even trying to offend anyone. Like, if this is your beliefs, it's perfectly fine. But somehow I'm called evil. But if you tell me that I'm going to be tortured for eternity for the simple act of non-belief, somehow that's cool. The only reason I'm making this video is because I want you to realize, like, just have an open mind, like, I don't know, like, maybe, it could be. It does sound a little weird. It does sound a little bad. Like, why would an all-powerful, knowing creator want to be worshipped? That's weird. Like, why would you ever want to be worshipped? Like, have you ever met someone, like a guy or a girl, that are like, pause, say hi to Rocky. Have you ever met someone, guy or girl, and they're just like, want people to be obsessed with them? Like, it's weird. It's just not natural. It's not natural to want to be worshipped. I don't think that's just something that's like very sane. I don't know. It sounds very human. I don't know. And here's the most beautiful part. everyone is similar. Like, I thought about it. I'm like, no. If someone, like, if, for example, let's say that I go to heaven. Why would I ever want to be in heaven worshiping God for eternity if I know my mom's in hell? Theoretically, hypothetically. Like, nah, I'm good. Send me down there with her because I'm not about to be chilling while someone else that I love is down there. And I know the old settlement, but what about the really evil people? Okay, sure, send them down there, right? But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about non-belief. You could just be a normal, chill, loving guy, and you just, there's so many gods, I don't know. I'm just going to chill out, boom, sent straight down there. Like, I always felt bad because when you break everything back down, we're all just humans. And when you keep breaking it back down, even the people that don't believe, they're just like you. They have that same awareness. They started off as kids, just pure awareness, innocent. And then as they got older, their life got shaped in certain ways. And that's how they perceived it. The mind, the subconscious mind, controls most of what you do. Have you ever noticed that people who had a really bad childhood, for the most part, tend to be not as good as people with a nice, healthy childhood, unless they work really hard to change that? Because the first few years, they absorbed all the stuff that was around them. And then that is their new personal reality. They'll see things way differently than what you see. So when you're trying to preach someone and telling them all these things, I'm not going to see it the same way that you see it. But yeah, I guess send them to HELL for eternity, fucking asshole. I'm just kidding. But no, like, truly just take like 2 minutes just to think about that and think about the awareness. And that's why sometimes when, like, let's say there's people that you don't like, right? You really cannot stand certain people. But sometimes you could see them doing something that's kind of wholesome. Like maybe they were with their kid and they did something kind of wholesome, or like something that maybe you can resonate with. And you can feel empathy and a little bit bad for them. Because, deep down, they're just like you. They're just like human. They have that same awareness that you have. Just really sit and think about, who are the people that are telling you this? Does it feel okay in your stomach? Like, does it feel okay? Because I always remember being young, and no, some Christians they had this they're so hype. They're like, yes, they passed away and they got what they deserved. Whole time that the person was just like homosexual or something like that. Just like, really? This is what we're hyped about? Can't they just, like, if they did some horrible stuff or they just weren't good, can't they do their time and then get out? Tell me the jail system is even less evil than all-loving God. Makes no sense, you know what I mean? I'm making this video because there's a chance that someone is worried about this, and you can make a change. You can think about this and, start digging deeper into this. I pick and I choose. I like some stuff from the Bible. There's a lot of stuff I like from the Bible. And I pick and I choose. And this doesn't resonate with me. So guess what? I'm not going to believe it. It's my choice. But, if this resonates with you, let people know. Just tell people what you think openly. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, you're just explaining your point of view. Might be called a little evil for it, but is it truly that evil? I don't know.